Hey guys, this is Leary the Lance Corporal, and this is the Mission 2 setup slash prep that I've done for the operation. The first mission was an insertion of elite PMC units to check out Labaka, Regina, and they pushed through, they found the information, secured the civilian hostages as well as the police force hostages, and then passed the duty over to the police forces that came in from Regina. And they got some intel, and that intel is going to lead them to point over here. I believe it was 013015, which is this grid square. Don't quote me on that, but I remember it's exactly this location. And what they're going to do is explore it and figure out what is here and why the intel brought them this location. So again, very similar to the first one. There's going to be, civilians they're going to have to check their fire for. There's going to be plenty of syndicate activity. And more so, this is going to be assault a position and hold it. They're not really after the civilians here because that's not the issue. The issue is they're just trying to figure out what's in this location. Now, I haven't run the first mission with the guys yet because this is supposed to be, they do mission 1 and then they drive up to mission 2. So I've covered every route that they could take. Option 1 would be they take this road up north. They'll run into a 2-man scout team. Engage fire, probably dismount earlier, in all honesty, start pushing in. Small 4-man patrol going around this town, plenty of civilians and vehicles, static guy over here, guarding the water, because, strategic resource for the town. A few more civs, then the compound itself, so that's option 1. Option 2 is they come down this road. Scouts are a little further out, and in my opinion, this is probably the worst route they could take, because 2 scouts pretty well concealed. And just up the road, I'm worried that I've got a 50 cal up here, that this thing might be able to cut through the trees and just completely murder them if they're not careful. So, that's going to be interesting if they take the northern route. And then the safest route to do, which could be the best or one of the worst, is cut through the hiking trails or the forests, get eyes on from here, see what happens. They might run into this 8-man patrol team, they might not, and get flanked by it later. They might see it patrolling by. Who knows? But there's also a side objective up here where there's going to be, some civilians to rescue. They'll get intel on this compound. I'll give them additional intel. I'll have to make that in. I just actually thought of, making an intel because it'll appear in the map. But, there's a 4-man team here. Easy to take out. But that's also why I have it marked as a question mark, and then the other question mark's the town itself. Now, a few surprises other than the static units, more civilians to work, because this is a cocoa farm. Nice bit of cocoa growing on all these trees. Workers, syndicate base, question mark. The one surprise is these 2 puppies. Now, I'm not going to use them to just, if they come near, get sighted, lock on, bam. I've seen a lot of YouTubers do that. That's, my opinion, really stupid. You just use these for effect to freak them out. So if they come down this path, these guys are going to radio in, they're going to pop some mortars. If they're like on the road or in this cover, I'm going to pop them over here. Or drop a single sight mortar and then drop them behind them. Maybe it'll get one guy, maybe not. But my goal is to just, do it for effect. Same with the ridgeline, it'll be guess and check kind of here. I'm going to put it around them. And if it's about to hit into if an entire squad moves up, I'm going to move it away. I know with Ares you can set a location for the mortars. Again, if you're doing it for effect, I'd rather do the create modules and then fire support. And then, just pop a few down. And, if a group runs in, I'll quickly, grab it and move it to the side or something, because I don't want them to die to something BSy like this. But, something like that if you're an infantryman, going through the thick of it. especially even these guys, you know, you could see the smoke billows come up. That's a really cool effect to have. So that's one little thing I'm going to be, you know, having to do while the mission's running, just to, you know, throw them off, make them think, make them work. Another thing I'll have done is I've got a pilot right over here. If a firefight starts happening, I'm going to run the pilot to this chopper and try to get him away. I haven't decided the repercussion of what that's going to do yet, but it's definitely going to probably add maybe an extra squad or two for the next mission if that pilot's able to get away, because this is a very big location and key asset for the Syndicate. Why, do you ask? It is a heavy server point for information to be sent to Syndicate forces around the maps, led by this guy, who's a storyboard. If you go to men, he's in the story section. He's Solo Moron. Whatever his name is. And there's also a bunch of weapons in here and in here. So they'll be asked to demo these to make sure they don't fall into Syndicate hands. And then they also have to hold this data terminal, and it's going to be for about 15 minutes. So if they take, you know, this route over here and ignore these units, as soon as, you know, it's declared that they're going to start doing defenses, these units are going to immediately push onto this location, you know, causing some cool firefights. These two units, it'll be, you know, from this tree line from these 7 units or so, the fire team, the static, and the 2 stacks here. I'll also be spawning in a few, you know, just cars and trucks. Maybe one of these for a 4-man fire team, and maybe a 6-man fire team or 2 with these. It depends. It's going to be, this mission's designed for 2 6-man fire teams, so we'll see how it goes. But again, to recap on the objectives, get to this location. They're going to find the weapons, demo the weapons after they take the data from these terminals. That's going to be about 15 minutes. While that's happening, they're going to have to be fighting off enemies, make sure they don't kill any civilians, and, you know, it's going to be pretty hectic. I'm not going to throw them under the bus or anything, but, you know, this is meant to be a good firefight / black operation for, you know, a PMC, so it'll be quite fun. And I think the only concern is going to be that 50 cal in the mortars. Everything else, you know, these guys have been doing this for a long time. They should be on their A game. So, you know, thanks for listening. Thanks for seeing how this is set up. If you have any questions on anything, you know, drop it in the comments. I'll answer it. And thank you for your time.
User joined your
See you in the
channel.
mission.